Alright, Goji fans. Alrighty, I'm back. So today we're gonna be reacting to King Kong 19100's video about Godzilla. Last time I checked this video about King Kong. Now we're gonna be talking about Godzilla. So yeah. So let's just get started. Bro, hurry up.
Ceramides are naturally found in your
Nobody
skin.
cares. Nobody cares. Just get to the point.
Today we are going to be talking about where to take Godzilla after GVK. We'll be talking about monster action, how to handle Godzilla's character.
Yeah. It's 20 minutes. I know a lot of to those Godzilla fans that are gonna be sensitive about this, please just do not watch the video, because I'm aware that this guy makes controversial statements about Godzilla sometimes. I'm aware. So to those who are gonna get offended, please just don't watch the video, because I already know where this guy's heading.
Potential big bads, teasers to future films, and so much more. Welcome back, everybody. This is KingKong19100. Now, this is going to be a follow-up video to my recent Where to Take Kong After GVK video. And if you haven't seen it, then be sure to check it out. Godzilla is a complicated character. He's very flexible in terms of story, and there are many places that he can be taken following the events of GVK. And before we get into that, I want you guys to let me know where you would take Godzilla's character in his next Monsterverse film appearance, and how you would handle his next movie. Now, as I said in my last video, I don't want to be too formulated when it comes to forming these kinds of theories, as the Monsterverse does have a consistency issue, and GVK pretty much solidified to me that the Monsterverse is willing to retcon past events to pave the way for whatever the directors or writers want to see. So I'm hoping this new film kind of holds that consistency with the previous films, and it just remains consistent. Now, with that aside, let's get right down to it. Now, before we talk about the actual monster that I want to see Godzilla fight, I think it would be very important that we see...
Which, by the way, I do want Guy getting Biolante to come back.
Godzilla actually set Titans in line during this new film. After following up on the consequences that the GVK film brought upon, we should see how Godzilla is holding up and how he's handling ruling over the Titans. We should basically see Dominion brought to screen on a much smaller scale. And the film should briefly show us Godzilla putting Titans in line. Now, I know by the end of Godzilla Dominion, Godzilla put all the Titans to sleep, but there can easily be a reason for the Titans reawakening after GVK. Now, whether that's due to Godzilla and Kong's alpha roar off, or when Mechagodzilla roared during his appearance, it can be shown that some Titans did awaken and are hungry, and that's where we see Godzilla setting the Titans in line. It doesn't have to be too many Titans, but a few would be very cool to see. I really want to see a monster like Amulok on the big screen, or monsters like Methuselah and Behemoth back in action.
I did want a Behemoth and Methuselah to return in Godzilla vs. Kong, but all of a sudden they weren't here because it was a short film. We could have had more monster action with Godzilla, I'm just saying. To those who just want, oh, we just want monster action.
Especially since those two particular monsters are very much fan favorites amongst all fans. The film,
which shows that King of the Monsters was actually a good film. Sorry, King Kong 19100. I know you hate the film, but if the movie itself made fan favorite monsters of monsters we have never seen before in the Godzilla franchise, that tells you that the movie itself did something right. So, again, I know King Kong 19100 is gonna be like, the battles are bad. I know it's your opinion, but still, the movie was good.
We should definitely give them the kind of screen time they deserve, so those two can really shine. Seeing Rodan or Mothra return would be awesome.
Rodan has to return. I wanted him in Godzilla vs. Kong. I wanted Rodan. If you see my review, I said, where was Rodan at this whole time?
As well. Now, if Godzilla were in a final battle with the certain big bad this movie would bring, it would be very cool to see Godzilla call upon the Titans of his that we saw in like King of the Monsters or in this new film just like how Ghidorah did when he was planning on using them to terraform the Earth to his advantage. I also want to see Godzilla interact with Kong again in some way, shape, or form. And now on
Not in Godzilla 3 though. I would like to see Godzilla interact with Kong again and destroy all monsters. Not Godzilla 3. Just like what D-Man said, but just keep Godzilla and Kong away from each other until the finale of the Monsterverse. That's how I would do it.
to the big bad that I would like to see. The
Violente!
I think it would be cool seeing Godzilla fight another monster like Biollante, since genetic engineering was tampered with at the end of King of the Monsters and partially in GVK, but with the creation of Mechagodzilla. I mean, Biollante would make for an awesome villain since she's got an insane design. She's much larger than Godzilla. She's really strong, and she's a standout monster from all the other kaiju.
Which, by the way, the technicals, like those right there, the technicals, are they gonna do it like, are they gonna pull a King Ghidorah on us and have there be like some sort of cabin for Biollante? Like let's just take this one for example. Is it gonna be like King Ghidorah where Kevin, all the Kevin memes, only this happens with Biollante and this? Imagine if they actually do that. Like I was really laughing out loud when Kevin was like acting up, and then like the other heads of King Ghidorah had to like pull him back into the action. Like it was like, Kevin, pull yourself together. Like this is our threat. You could do your little thing later. I do think. Imagine if they actually do that again with Biollante. It would be really funny.
Faced in his career. She's really underappreciated too, and is a fan favorite amongst many G fans.
Yeah, sadly, Biollante does not get a lot of respect, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, this new movie could, like, just like with the other monsters, like help bring that popularity up. Like the Monsterverse made me respect these monsters even more, and I would really hope Biollante comes into Monsterverse one day.
So I think she does deserve some time to shine again after Godzilla vs. Biollante back in '89. But keep in mind that Biollante doesn't have to be the one we see in this film. If Legendary could get the rights to him, another monster that I can see totally working
Gigan.
is Godzilla having a crossover with Gamera. It would make total sense. A Hollow Earth entry point has been formed in
Gamera? Okay, now I don't think it's gonna be Gamera because of the whole Toho and whatever company Gamera owns again. The whole Toho and Gamera company stuff going on. I don't think it's gonna be Gamera, but I do think Gamera. I do think Toho and whoever owns Gamera should just get their crap together and make Godzilla finally cross over with Gamera. Because if we can have two Godzilla versus King Kong movies, we get for sure two Godzilla versus King Kong movies. Both of them were entertaining, which by the way, then we can for sure have an entertaining Godzilla versus Gamera movie. And I don't think Gamera would and should. I don't think Gamera would be in Godzilla 3 because it will be a little bit too early, and the whole Toho and company owning Gamera situation. And 2, I don't think he should be in the film because I want Gamera to be saved for either his own film or a crossover, or the Destroy All Monsters crossover, or a film before that's not his. But I don't want Gamera to be introduced in Godzilla 3. That's all I'm gonna say. I want him to be introduced before Destroy All Monsters, but not in Godzilla 3.
Kong is too busy in his own film, which I talked about in the last video when he's fighting Kamazats. And in this film, we can have a bunch of Gaius-like creatures escaping the Hollow Earth onto the surface world. This is basically Godzilla's consequences of GVK catching up to him. As Godzilla awakens to stop the threat of these Gaius, Gamera could awaken from a very deep slumber to rid the world of them. As the Gaius are his natural enemies, he awakens to defeat every time they ever escape the Hollow Earth. They could essentially be like these Skullcrawlers to Kong, or the Mutos to Godzilla. So that would bring both him and Godzilla against each other, and we can get a very awesome crossover film between the two monsters. And an incredibly overdue one at that. And as a quick side note, I really hope that newer Godzilla films stray away from the big bad having connections to Ghidorah or being another ancient rivalry. We need newer, refreshing origins for monsters that unfold upon our very eyes. You know, I don't want it to be like what happened with Ghidorah, where he was already established, and you know, him and Godzilla have already met before. And Because the same thing happened with the Mutos and Kong and Shinamura and the Muto Prime, all the Titans from Dominion. I want to see Godzilla come across a new enemy entirely, that being Gamera, or Biollante, whoever you choose to go with. And I really want to see Godzilla intentionally lash out at humanity for aiding in the creation of a monster like Biollante, again, if they choose to go with her or not. So speaking...
Run! Rated PG-13. Burberry Hero, the new fragrance for men.
Speaking of the opposing kaiju, if Godzilla fights either them or a new monster entirely, then the one he should fight should be bigger and stronger than him. That way Godzilla can overcome the opponent on his own without any help or power-ups. You know, we need more fights with less cutting away also, because, again, those are the really just main selling point of the Monsterverse, are giant monster fights that are very high quality and have very cool visual effects. So, we need more fights with less cutting away. I mean, the final battle should be more along the lines of 10 minutes rather than 5, and there should be about...
No more short battles. Unlike Godzilla vs. Kong. That was one of my issues with Godzilla vs. Kong, is that the battles are a bit too short to the point where you're just asking for more.
Maybe one cutaway throughout that 10-minute battle. You know, don't make it one-sided like it has been so far. I've talked about this many times now, but, you know, really make these fights more evenly matched. Don't have the other monster or Godzilla depend on a power-up, because so far, that's what we've been getting throughout the Monsterverse films and the Monsterverse comics and supplemental materials. You know, Godzilla has either had to depend on a power-up. It's really made for a kind of stale and formulaic approach to these battles. And I think it's time for a little more creativity when it comes to that. So I wouldn't have the monster or Godzilla depend on a power-up, or even depend on humans. Make the two...
Basically, make Godzilla an underdog, if that's what you're saying. Make Godzilla an underdog, which I kind of wanted in King of the Monsters, but we didn't get it, but I still liked it. I kind of wanted Godzilla to be an underdog in King of the Monsters, if I was going to be completely honest to you.
Other monsters also really bloody each other up. I want to see more blood.
Thank you, more bloody monster battles. That's what the Monsterverse has been lacking. Bloody monster battles. Jesus Christ. I don't care if the movie has to be rated R. Just give us these monster bloody accents. Okay? Make it long, make it bloody, make it fair fights. Fair, bloody battles that are actually long. Don't play it safe, okay? I don't even care if the movie is rated R. I'm still gonna watch it anyway because I'm a Godzilla fan. Just give us what we've been asking for. Godzilla versus Kong should have been bloody. It's not as bloody as I thought it was going to be. Especially watching that fan animation Godzilla versus King Kong fight. That ZMOS animation. That's what I wanted, but sadly we didn't get it. So, yeah.
In these movies, because honestly with GVK, I was kind of let down. I mean, I was really surprised to see that Kong wasn't as bloody as I thought he would be, or even Godzilla. I was expecting both to be pretty heavily scarred and bloodied up.
Exactly. But newsflash, they chose to freaking play it safe. Just for more money. I'm not saying it's a cash grab. Godzilla vs. Kong is nowhere near a cash grab. It's an amazing film. It's a good film. It's great. 8.5 out of 10. But I'm just saying, like, should the movie have been rated R to give us that bloody action we've asked for? Like that ZMOS animation? But, okay.
By the end of the battle, like, both of them weren't that bloody. Even Kong, surprisingly.
Exactly. Like, the only monster that was really bloody in the final battle was Mechagodzilla. Like, Mechagodzilla was the... But even then with Mechagodzilla wasn't that sick, because Mechagodzilla was not really doing that much in Godzilla vs. Kong. He was just there. The only time where he really did something was the final battle. Other than that, that's it. And Mechagodzilla had less screen time, so yeah.
Who has less armor, who was not that bloody. And it was just really surprising to see, and I'm hoping that they kind of amp up the blood factor in these movies. Now, I don't want it to be an easy stomp for either Godzilla or the other Titan. I really want it to be an evenly matched, slightly more in favor of the other monster kind of fight. That way, it's a lot more interesting to watch. And as the famous Brutally Hans said, it shouldn't be a question of when is Godzilla going to make it out of this fight. It should be a question of if he can make it out of this fight. And so one of the things that I really want to see is Godzilla prevailing with sheer will and intelligence in addition to his strength and durability. You know, we've already seen Godzilla utilize and depend on his durability while fighting Mechagodzilla. We've seen him utilize his strength and depending on that when he was fighting King Ghidorah. And now I just really want to see.
I want to see them both combined together when Godzilla's fighting the villain of Godzilla 3. I want to see Godzilla fight the way he did in King of the Monsters in Godzilla 2014. Because in Godzilla vs. Kong, there are times in Godzilla vs. Kong where he will only depend of his atomic breath. Depends on on his atomic breaths. Like there are times where he will only go for the atomic breath. And I said this in my review, but I did not like that Godzilla was spamming his atomic breath in Godzilla vs. Kong. Like there are times where he would only go where Godzilla would think his atomic breath is the only thing that he needs, even though he has all of his combat, all of his hand-to-hand combat, all his strength, where he could do anything besides only use the atomic breath. I would have him fight the way he did in King of the Monsters and Godzilla 2014, because I did not like that Godzilla would only depend a bit of his atomic breath in Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, no.
Godzilla using his other attributes that commonly go unnoticed, which are his intelligence and his willpower.
Yeah, I will basically do that.
And now onto the story. I really want to see Godzilla, first of all, in terms of the character of Godzilla himself, I really want to see Godzilla have a lot more emotion and facial animations.
So that way, thank you. Finally, Godzilla is allowed to have emotions. Toho, if you're watching this, please have Godzilla not be this faceless monster without any emotion. Do not have Godzilla be one of those characters where he's just faceless, ruthless, like just no facial expressions. Cause so far that has not happened, which I'm thankful. Which I do hope they need to show more. They need to show more though. I'm happy Godzilla has shown emotions, but he has not shown enough. So that way Godzilla could be an actual character just like King Kong. Because King Kong has lots of emotions, and Godzilla seems to be liking that. So, yeah. And I don't really have a problem. If it were up to me, I would have Godzilla. If it were up to me, I would have Godzilla have emotions. Show that he's intelligent. Show that he's a caring monster, and not this giant beast, this mindless beast that everyone thinks he is. And so that way, to those people who think Godzilla is just this dumb, mindless monsters, everyone who thinks that can finally shut up already once this movie proves them wrong. Yeah. Like, I do hope Godzilla gets more screen time, because that seems to be the problem with the Monsterverse. The Monsterverse Godzilla movies is that he's not getting enough screen time, despite the fact that this particular Godzilla is actually one of the best Godzillas ever made, and he's not getting enough screen time. I love this Godzilla, but he needs to have more screen time. Basically, I would like I don't know how much time he needs, but he needs more time in these movies, if I'm going to be quite honest to you. So, yeah.
No, I think he needs.
I would have him appear for like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Give him enough time. I would have it be like Godzilla vs. Kong, where Godzilla's the main focus of the movie and not the humans. So, yeah.
I think Godzilla needs a lot more expression, and if you heard in the commentary of GVK, Adam Wingard basically mentioned that the creators and the VFX artists really had to mess around with Godzilla's laugh alone, because the company who owns Godzilla, Toho, really wanted to tone down his expressions. They wanted to portray him as just this all-time powerful god, and I think that is kind of holding back the character, because the laugh instantly became a fan favorite, and I think it would be...
Yeah, I remember I remember when Godzilla versus Kong was out. Everybody that saw that left, in case you guys didn't see the movie yet, there was a scene when Godzilla shoots King Kong with his atomic breath, and after that, King Kong falls on the ground, and then Godzilla Godzilla just laughed at him. He made an evil laugh. It was an evil laugh too. Godzilla made an evil laugh, and it was at that moment where lots of fans were taking this, posting memes about this, posting memes on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that. Posted it on the internet saying, "Hey, oh crap, Godzilla's laughing." I can't believe Godzilla's actually laughing. Like, lots of Godzilla fans really made memes about this.
Really cool to see Godzilla have a lot more emotion like that and a lot more facial animations. Obviously, without overdoing it, kind of put a little more emphasis on his facial expressions because Godzilla is starting to become a character. So I think in order to form a greater connection between him and the audience, that he does need a little bit more emotion. I don't think he'll be capable of really carrying that many more films if he's pretty much expressionless. I think giving Godzilla's characters some more substance without being
Which, by the way, is why Godzilla needs more screen time in these movies.
cliche is definitely needed. Just make Godzilla a lot more emotional in terms of his facial animations and give him a lot more character than he's already been given. Not to downplay what he's been given so far, but I just want to see that a little.
I don't care. I don't care. Godzilla is getting emotion. If it were up to me, if I ever made a Godzilla film, Godzilla's having emotion. Godzilla's gonna get emotion one way or another. One way or another. Jesus Christ.
More amped up in his own film, in his own future film. Also, I really think it would be cool to kind of break the formula of, the classic final monster fights in big city kind of thing. Let's start seeing Godzilla in
I did hear another YouTuber say this, but another YouTuber has pointed this out. But the final battles in these movies have been taking place in the city so far, and it's time for them to take place somewhere else. Like maybe have the next King Kong film have the final battle obviously going to be in the Hollow Earth, but the next Godzilla film have it set in the ocean. Have the next Godzilla film, Godzilla 3 final battle in the ocean. It's the only thing I could have come up with.
fight in jungles and underwater environments against other opponents that can actually breathe underwater and hold their own, like we saw with Tiamat and Godzilla Dominion. Because, let's be honest, in my opinion, I don't know if you guys saw my ranking video of all the Monsterverse fights, but the first real underwater battle we got on screen with the Monsterverse Godzilla was Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in Mexico, and honestly, that fight was ass. You can barely see what was going on, and
I'm not gonna lie, even though I enjoyed the King of the Monsters, that was the only monster fight that kind of confused me. Like, there was just lots of stuff going on underwater. Like, we can get a wide shot of them. I'm not gonna lie though, that did kind of disappointed me as well.
there was constant cuts, and it was really, really annoying. So I was actually pleasantly.
Which, by the way, the next Godzilla film, they better not cut away from the humans. I swear to God, if they cut away from the humans, I'm done supporting the Monsterverse films. I'm done. I'm done. If they cut away from the Monsterverse, one more time, I'm done. I'm done. 2 Godzilla films in the Monsterverse, and they still cut away. I understand why a lot of people prefer the Kong films over the Godzilla films in the Monsterverse, because they actually show the fights. Godzilla vs. Kong kind of counts as a King Kong film. So yeah.
Surprised when in GVK they really stepped up the kind of portrayal of the underwater fights. Even though Kong is a monster who obviously cannot breathe underwater, him and Godzilla fought a lot better than Godzilla fought with Ghidorah underwater. It was a huge step up, not only in terms of the actual choreography, but also the visuals. And
not to mention the CGI in Godzilla vs. Kong was much better than the CGI in King of the Monsters.
The underwater scenes in general are a lot better in GVK than they were in Godzilla King of the Monsters and even Godzilla 2014. So I do think that
And do not make it too dark. In the next Godzilla film, do not make it too dark. Not like dark tone, obviously. Obviously, we need a dark tone in the Godzilla films, in the Monsterverse. But what I mean by don't make it dark, don't make it visually dark. Don't make it dark to where the fans in the audience and critics cannot see what's going on. Like, one of my complaints with King of the Monsters and Godzilla 2014 is that there are times where it's too dark to the point where you just cannot see what's going on. And to the point where you just have to brighten some things up in order to make out what's happening on the screen. Which I do hope Godzilla 3 improves on. So yeah.
Really utilize to their advantage the underwater fights in this new Godzilla film, just like how we saw in Godzilla Dominion, when we can pretty clearly see Godzilla fighting Tiamat, and even the ending shot when there's a montage of all the monsters and you can see Amulek underwater. That would be really cool to see Godzilla fight Amulek underwater. You know, it would look pretty goddamn awesome. It would look really clear as we saw in GVK, and I think it would be a nice change of direction within the Monsterverse and these films. So since we're talking about the story, this kind of correlates to the next point I want to make, which involves the characters. Now, as I said...
I've been having visions. Danger is coming.
Ads, of course it's ads. What am I looking at? Loading.
As I said in the Kong video, give the characters more depth and a connection to Godzilla with a cast that is not bloated. It's super important that the Monsterverse improves their characters.
Like I said in the Kong video, like don't have there be too much characters. Like have it be like enough characters. Don't overload the cast. Because that's one of my problems with King of the Monsters. One of my problems with King of the Monsters is that there's too much characters. And I don't think we need that many characters. As much as I want good human plots in kaiju films, I don't want there to be too much human characters. Especially if it was a Godzilla. If I were able to make a Godzilla and a King Kong film one day, I would not have there be as many characters. I would have there be like 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 characters. Or 13 characters at most. And that's it. No, actually 15 characters at most. And that's it. That's not too many characters. Just have there be a small cast of characters and don't overblow it. That's it. As much characters as you need, but don't overblow it. So yeah.
We need interesting characters that are relatable as can be in a world of monsters, and ones that actually make sense. Now, if you think about it, if Marvel can go from making those mediocre films that we saw in like the second phase to recently stepping up their game with creating likable characters, then the Monsterverse can totally do it too. Just write a script that makes sense and stays consistent with what you've already established. It's definitely no easy task, but monster films do need to improve their characters, and what better way to start with that than the Monsterverse? Really try to write better characters. I cannot put much more emphasis on that. That is a very, very important thing that these films should accomplish. Now, another thing that I want to see in this new Godzilla film is to see it tease two very important films that would turn the tide of the Monsterverse and Godzilla as a character. I would want to see this film tease Godzilla's son. Now, unlike...
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen for a number of reasons. First of all, like I said with Kong, I do not want Godzilla or Kong to have sons in these films. Like in any other Godzilla or King Kong film, it could work. But in the Monsterverse, I don't want it to happen. No children. Please, just give us the actual characters. I had enough of these characters. Like, it's good and all, but they pushed it too much to the point where you just get annoyed. I had enough of these characters where, like, the first three films, it's just them actually doing the characters, and then the other films, they either have to have an adopted child or a sibling or something where they have to look forward to protecting, and then they sacrifice themselves, and then the character that they were protecting all of a sudden becomes the new hero. Like, no, I like this character better. Like, give us this character, not the new characters. Especially since usually at times the characters that they replace are not really that good. Boruto. Subscribe to my Naruto channel. Link in the description below. I really just drew a jab at Boruto like that. But I do not like Boruto, guys. I'm sorry. But still, back on topic. I do not want Godzilla and King Kong to have sons in these films. Like, no. Please don't, Legendary. Please do not.
With Kong, who was the last of his kind, which is a character trait that's integral to the character of King Kong, Godzilla has had a son in every single era he has been. He's had Minya, he's had Godzilla.
Which, by the way, which is kind of the reason why I do not want it. I do not want Godzilla to have a son in these films. I just want this Godzilla to be its own Godzilla. Which is kind of what they've been doing so far, but okay? But still, I do not want Godzilla to have a son in these films. Please, Legendary, do not give Godzilla a son. And not even just with Legendary Godzilla, future Godzilla films in general, when Toho starts producing Godzilla movies again, Toho, Legendary, with your movies, do not give Godzilla a son again. I do not ever want Godzilla to have another son ever again. Please, Legendary and Toho, do not do it again, please. Like we already have enough. 3 sons, Godzilla Jr., Manila, Frick Manila. What? We had enough. Like 2 or 3 sons. I forgot how many sons Godzilla had. I don't really watch the Millennium movies that much. The Millennium movies. But I do mostly watch the Showa and the Heisei films. Godzilla has a son. And I do not want Godzilla to have a son in the Monsterverse. Like, Wayman is the name. Godzilla, Kid Godzilla. Like, what's the name? So, yeah. Do not give Godzilla a son, please don't.
Junior, he's had Minya again. There was that mini Godzilla Phillies thing from that shitty anime I didn't watch. I think it's very important that Godzilla ends up adopting a son. It would pretty much change his character from a fairly neutral anti-hero to a good guy with sympathy, willing to defend the Earth and his son.
Yeah, you could do that, except that the son are actually humans. Because remember in King of the Monsters, Serizawa said Godzilla is not our pet, we will be his. That will build up into his characters. The humans can be Godzilla's son. And King of the Monsters, Serizawa said, us humans, we will be Godzilla's pet. Godzilla is here to protect us. So, do not, all of a sudden just replace us pets with Godzilla's son, which is not even that memorable to begin with. Godzilla Jr. was fine, but Manila was freaking horrifying and horrible. Godzilla Jr. was fine. If I had to bring the son of Godzilla to the Monsterverse, I would have to bring Godzilla Jr. But still, I do not want Godzilla to have a son. But still, just keep it like how it is.
Without a moment's hesitation, if any being were to harm them, doesn't matter if it's humans or Mothra or Kong or even his own titans, Godzilla would kill him. Being able to see the audiences sympathize with Godzilla a lot more than we already have would help form a connection to the character that we haven't really felt for this Godzilla in the Monsterverse so far. And I mean, the amount of stories that could be told with Godzilla and a new son would be pretty plentiful in amount, and if you get the right people for the job. I mean, you have no idea the tons of new doors that would be opening, and there would just be a plethora of possibilities to take Godzilla from here on out. So, tease Godzilla adopting a son, or the son's egg being found in the hollow earth for Kong to raise. That could potentially lead to a Godzilla vs. Kong 2 kind of film, or it would bring some tension between the two.
I do not want a Godzilla vs. Kong
like
sequel.
Would be
Hold on.
for this character. Find a way to tease Godzilla's son, at least.
What's wrong with this
And the
stupid?
second very important kind of teaser
Destroy all
on that
monsters?
is to
Yeah.
make some kind of setup to a Destroy All Monsters film. That should
Hold on.
definitely.
What's wrong with this remote? I swear, this remote barely. Like, this remote does this sometimes. I swear. But still, like I was gonna say, hold on, what he's saying again?
Lead to a Godzilla vs. Kong 2 kind of film, right?
I do not want. I've been seeing Godzilla. I've been seeing these videos lately where they might have Godzilla and Kong have a rematch. Basically, they're saying that Godzilla vs. Kong 2. For one, what kind of a stupid title is that? And two, I don't think Godzilla and Kong are gonna fight again in the Monsterverse. Which I don't think they're gonna do it. Like, the only way I see them fighting again is that if one of them is mind control and then the other has to stop them. Other than that, I don't think that's gonna happen again. They're not gonna fight again. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. We already saw how the fight went out, and it was freaking good. Despite the fact that it was short and not bloody, it was still good. Please, I do not want to see them fight again. Just have them go their separate ways. Have them still like hold some sort of grudge against them because of their species back in the day. But still, don't have them fight again. Have them hold a little grudge against each other while Godzilla's protecting the Earth and King Kong's protecting the Hollow Earth. Have them go their separate ways and don't have them come together until the Destroy All Monsters film. So yeah.
It would bring some tension between the two characters. I don't know, something like that would be amazing for this character. Find a way to tease Godzilla's son, at least. And the second very important kind of teaser I would have is to include some kind of setup to a Destroy All Monsters film. That should definitely be implemented here, since the Space Godzilla-like monster has been teased in GVK supplemental material.
That's what I was talking about when I said the Space Godzilla creature. This is the villain. This is obviously the villain of Destroy All Monsters. For those who were thinking it was going to be Destroyer, I do think Destroyer can still show up, but I don't think Destroyer is going to be like the main villain. I don't think Destroyer is going to be like the main villain of the film. I think it's going to be like this creature right here. Or it could possibly be Mecha King Ghidorah. Which, by the way, Mecha King Ghidorah, I've heard before the movie came out, before Godzilla vs. Kong came out, a lot of people have been making rumors that Mecha King Ghidorah was going to be in Godzilla vs. Kong. It was never going to happen. Even with those rumors, it was only going to be Mecha Godzilla. It was only going to be Mecha Godzilla, and that's it. So Mecha King Ghidorah could be the villain of Destroy All Monsters, or this monster right here. And Destroyer, I think Destroyer should just be a cameo. No, not a cameo, but like have it be like 2 fights of Destroyer. That's it. 2 or 3 fights of Destroyer, and that's honestly it. I wouldn't have Destroyer be the main villain of the film. So yeah. If it were up to me, I wouldn't have Destroyer be the main villain. Whoa, what's wrong with this remote? This remote. I swear, I need a new remote. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys, if I'm just holding y'all. Great. I don't know if I have to do part 2 to this video thanks to this stupid remote not working. I might have to, because the video is about to be 40 minutes. It's about to be an hour. Hold on. Sorry guys. Where is it? I put this remote. Oh, now it wants to work. Jesus Christ. God.
materials. And I mean, a Destroy All Monsters film is pretty much the way to go for this next phase of Monsterverse films. You know, you have Godzilla film, you have a Kong film, maybe a Mothra or Rodan film.
I don't think we're getting a Mothra or Rodan film. As much as I want it to happen, I don't think it's gonna happen within the type of universe that they built so far. Because then Godzilla has to show up in those films because of the monsters that Mothra and Rodan are fighting. So I don't think Rodan or Mothra should get a solo film in the Monsterverse. I do think Rodan, however, I do think Rodan should be in Godzilla 3 because of his appearance in Godzilla vs. Kong. Rodan was missing from Godzilla vs. Kong, so if you have Rodan returning Godzilla 3, I'll forgive you for that. So yeah.
If they figure out a way to actually improve those two monsters, or even a Gamera film. After those three kind of solo films, then you build up to the grand finale. You know, the Avengers, that kind of movie. Destroy All Monsters. And that...
Which, by the way, Godzilla did it first because of Destroy All Monsters in the Showa era.
And now this last thing I want to discuss, it's definitely extra. It doesn't really have to correlate to the film that Godzilla is going to be in. I guess it does, but it's more so of like a collection of what we've seen in the Monsterverse as a whole. But when it comes to the supplementary materials, one thing that's just absolutely important to me is an official Titan guidebook, all with completed bios and stats of the kaiju we've seen in the Monsterverse so far. I mean, that is extremely needed, as so far there are a lot of just messed up stats and a lot of creatures that go unexplained in this universe. I mean, I would really want to see a Titan guidebook with completed stats. You know, the same kind of old Toho guidebooks where they have the front profile and the side profile of the monsters. We need like a page dedicated to each Titan. Highly detailed bios and stats. Have it arranged by each...
Legendary, if you're listening to this, please do it. Please do it.
film's era it takes place in. I want to see them discuss the power levels, whether they're destroyers or protectors, all of that kind of good stuff. Personally, I would either have it arranged as each film's era it takes place in, like the Godzilla 2014 era, Kong Skull Island, King of the Monsters and GVK, you know, that kind of thing. Or I would have it take place chronologically. Now, if I were in charge of creating a Titan guidebook, I would definitely order it in terms of film era. You know, you have Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, King of the Monsters, and GVK. So, it started off by giving us the monsters from the Godzilla 2014 film era. So this would include the Shinamura and the Muto pair, Godzilla with his 2014 stats, and the skeleton of Dagon. I would explain why this Godzilla was much slower and had a less powerful atomic breath. I don't buy the Muto EMPs affecting Godzilla's atomic breath, as that kind of contradicted what we saw on screen. We never really saw that play out on screen, and Godzilla's overall biology was altered from 2014 to King of the Monsters, with Godzilla's atomic breath being changed from bioelectrical to bionuclear. I mean, I know the novel explains that there's a flame in Godzilla's throat that sparks the atomic breath and actually lights it. Pretty much like gasoline to a lighter. I mean, still, that was pretty much changed in 2019, and in the creature bio for Godzilla, you know, that spark is never even mentioned. So, I mean, they can still explain the weaker atomic breath. It's just saying Godzilla was radiation deprived in 2014, you know, that when he gets out of hibernation, he's tired and he's weaker and he needs to gain energy, just like we've seen so far. I think it makes a lot more sense in the Muto's EMPs causing his atomic breath to weaken, which we never really saw play out on screen. If they do explain it was the EMP, great. Explain why we never saw it on screen. And include the out-universe explanation. I mean, it's pretty simple. Like, Gareth Edwards wanted the atomic breath to look realistic and like a flamethrower, and Michael Dougherty wanted to change it. It's that simple. So, in-universe explanation, out...
Which, by the way, I in terms of atomic breath, I did like the atomic breath from King of the Monsters more than I like the atomic breath from Godzilla 2014. So, yeah. Because the atomic breath from 2014 was just did not look like that, all that powerful to begin with. So, yeah. Whereas the atomic breath in King of the Monsters actually looked like a weapon that Godzilla could use. So, yeah.
Universe explanation. That's what I want to see. After the Godzilla 2014 era, we would get the Kong Skull Island era. So this would include all the monsters we saw in Kong Skull Island from 1973 to 1995 and Skull Island, The Birth of Kong. completed with official bios and stats including height, weight, and length for each monster. Explain shit we don't have answers for.
I'm just looking at King Ghidorah in this image right now. Should King Ghidorah return, guys? Let me know in the comments. Should King Ghidorah return in the Monsterverse? Yes or no? I don't think he should like return as like a main villain, but I do think he should return, like either as a flashback scene in the earlier ancient days, or like as like more generated and stronger and bigger than ever.
Like how there's oversized some of their long legs, despite them being stated to grow only 25 feet tall. Same with the Spirit Tiger later on in Kingdom Kong being 100 plus feet tall, despite them listed as, only growing like 12 feet tall. Give us explanations for Kong's parents and their sizes being 200 to 250 feet tall. I mean, were they even fully grown? We know other Kongs grew to 300 plus feet tall, which we see in GVK, Kingdom Kong, and King of the Monsters. So Arvid Nelson, who's the writer of Birth of Kong, had a theory that Kongs grow and shrink based on the environments they're in and their predatory range, but to me that makes no sense at all. Kong's parents were 200 to 250 feet tall, and Skull Island was full of skull crawlers. By 1973, after Kong kills Ramarak, he's still growing. Kong was the same size as his parents in 1995 Skull Island: The Birth of Kong, despite almost all these skull crawlers being eliminated at that point, if not all of them. How would they even be the same size if that theory were true?
Sorry for moving a lot. Sorry for moving a lot.
Kingdom Kong, if he was fully grown in 1995, which Arvid stated. Obviously, Arvid was wrong about that, and when I had somebody confront him about it, he straight up admitted that he hadn't even read the creature profile at the end, which states that Kong wasn't fully grown in 1995 and was still growing. So, again, that's what I'm trying to say. There are all these mysteries we have so far that need explaining. They need to be answered, and I don't want to see any half-assed answers that make no sense or contradict what we see in the media, like what Arvid said. In this Skull Island era, I would really want to see Kong 1995's official stats, and I mean, this book should basically be like the World of Kong book. Connect what we see throughout the Monsterverse media without causing contradictions. Just expand upon the lore. And then would come the Godzilla 2019 King of the Monster era. I would start off with giving us Muto Prime's official stats, since he was never introduced until Godzilla King of the Monsters was in production. I would also make sure to give stats for Godzilla both pre-nuke, which we see in King of the Monsters, and then stats for him post-nuke. And then obviously give us the stats and detailed bios for all of the titans that we see in Godzilla King of the Monsters. And then finally, give us stats for Kaiju from the Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 era. I really want to see stats for Kong from the events of Kingdom Kong. Give us official stats for Kamazots and the other creatures we see in Kingdom Kong. I want to see all the titans in Godzilla Dominion fully explored and, statted up and bioed and whatever. And finally, give us the stats of the fully grown adult Kong and Mechagodzilla. We need to know their heights and their weights and, length in terms of Mechagodzilla. But I'm really curious as to what Kong's height and weight is. We know his height, but not his weight. And I also want to see Godzilla 2024 stats, so this can confirm or deny if Godzilla is 164,000 tons or not. I know the stats were botched in GVK's opening credits and stuff, but still, they weren't actively retconned just yet. So if we don't get that now, then maybe this Titan book can give us that later. And also, it would be interesting seeing how large the warbats actually are, as they seem larger than 428 feet in length, because they've been stated in some Japanese guidebooks to be 428 feet, but they look more around 500 to 550 feet in length. So in short, I think it would be very beneficial to see a Titan guidebook in the future following this new Godzilla film, as it would expand the lore drastically and answer many questions that the audience could have. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all for now. Please remember to leave a comment telling me where you would take Godzilla after GVK and where you would take the direction of the Monsterverse. The more opinions are out there, the better, and I always love to read them. And feel free to discuss in the comments with each other. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more kinds of Monsterverse discussions or 3D animated Godzilla films, then go ahead and check out my channel and subscribe. Please like the video and remember to comment. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is KingKong19100, and until next time, bye-bye.
Alright, so which, by the way, the Toho music, I did like that the Toho music was in King of the Monsters. I do hope and think that the Toho music is gonna be in Godzilla 3. So yeah, that's all I gotta say right now. So I pretty much agree with everything that's in this video. So yeah, like and subscribe. The video has been 50 minutes now, so I'm gonna end it here. Like and subscribe, hit that bell, hit those notifications down below. Subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Link will be in the description below. So yeah, that's all I gotta say right now. So talk to you Goji fans later. The video is about an hour. So yeah. Don't ask me why the video is so long.